I chose 5 genres that are out of my comfort zone. I chose a sci-fi book, a lit fit book, a thriller, a horror book, and a dark academia. And hopefully I'll get to all of them, but I might not be able to. Alright, so the first book that I'm going to be reading out of my comfort zone is going to be my horror pick, which is The Whisper Man by Alex North.
Just be honest. It drives me crazy. So the next book that I'm going to be reading is Severance by Ling Ma. It is a literary fiction. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? And now I am about to start my thriller read, The Housemaid. I'm like dying to know who's the crazy person. My next one is going to be The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And this is the Dark Academia. I'm 56 pages in.
Howdy friends, I'm Morgan, the Nerdy Cowgirl, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm about to start my last book for these Uncomfy Reads, which is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. And I am so excited to read this. I know Severance was technically a sci-fi, but I really want a good sci-fi. And I'm hoping this is going to be a good sci-fi. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm getting ready to start this today. I'm going to go ahead and read the synopsis for you. At once wildly original and stuffed with irresistible nostalgia, Ready Player One is a spectacularly genre-busting, ambitious, and charming debut. Part quest novel, part love story, and part virtual space opera. Ooh! So a little bit of my like RPG video game quests, whatever. A little bit of my romance that I love so much, and a little bit of Star Wars. Cool. I'm here for it. I am here for it. Okay. It's the year 2044, and the real world is an ugly place. Like most of humanity, Wade Watts escapes his grim surroundings by spending his waking hours jacked into the Oasis, a sprawling virtual utopia that lets you be anything you want to be, a place where you can live and play and fall in love on any of 10,000 planets. And like most of humanity, Wade dreams of being the one to discover the ultimate lottery ticket that lies concealed within this virtual world. For somewhere inside this giant networked playground, Oasis creator James Halliday has hidden a series of fiendish puzzles that will yield massive fortune and remarkable power to whoever can unlock them. For years, millions have struggled fruitlessly to attain this prize, knowing only that Halliday's riddles are based in the pop culture he loved, that of the late 20th century. And for years, millions have found in this quest another means of escape, retreating into happy, obsessive study of Halliday's icons. Like many of his contemporaries, Wade is as comfortable debating the finer points of John Hughes's I don't know that word. Playing Pac-Man or reciting Devo lyrics as he is scrounging power to run his Oasis rig. And then Wade stumbles upon the first puzzle. Suddenly, the whole world is watching, and thousands of competitors join the hunt. Among them, certain powerful players who are willing to commit very real murder to beat Wade to this prize. Ooh. Now the only way for Wade to survive and preserve everything he knows is to win. But to do so, he may have to leave behind his oh-so-perfect virtual existence and face up to life and love in the real world he's always been so desperate to escape. This sounds perfect for me. I knew I wanted to read this. I've seen it on so many sci-fi recommended videos, and I was like, ooh, that sounds good. But reading that synopsis, yes, this sounds perfect. I'm so excited for this. I hope it doesn't let me down like a couple of the other books have. But I'm so excited. All right, let's get into Ready Player One.
Hey guys, so I just started Ready Player One. And in the very beginning, you know, it talks about the creator of it who dies, and he has hidden an Easter egg in it. And whoever finds that Easter egg gets his estate because he doesn't have an heir. And so he's got like an airtight will, and nobody can touch it. So whoever can find it can take over for him and become very rich. And we find out that our main character, Wade Watts, is the first to find the key after years that the guy's been dead and that people have been, and that gunters, who are egg hunters, after years of them searching for the egg in the oasis, which is what the guy created. And it's a giant, like, virtual reality game. But the whole reason that I'm making this little snippet is I just got to the part, so we're introduced to Wade, and he said his dad was killed looting a store during the blackout, and he was shot and killed. But his dad loved comic books, and he's the one who decided to name him Wade Watts because that sounded like a superhero, like Peter Parker or Clark Kent, which I love that. But another thing he said is that his mom worked 2 jobs in the oasis, and she kind of used the oasis as a babysitter for him. And he said that he kind of learned everything in the oasis. He learned reading, writing, math, everything. And I just got to the part where it insinuates, he talks about the library, and he says that in the library is where he learned, like, the true meaning of life, or the true history of humans, which is the typical atheistic outlook on life. That there's no God. We're just here. We came from a random cell that decided, I want to be a human, and evolved into that. And, you know, there's no heaven. You just die. I'm so thankful for my parents that they raised me with the love of God and with the faith of God. If that is how I saw the world would be such a scary place. Like, me and my husband were having this conversation just the other day about how scary and how you wouldn't want to improve your life, because what's the point? You wouldn't want to help other people. You wouldn't want to serve other people, because this is the only life you get. You've got to do what you've got to do. It's about you. It's about you. When you die, there's going to be no you anymore. And it breaks my heart for people who have that outlook on life, because that is the most heartbreaking outlook for life. I pray that they come to know him and know the peace and the joy and the mercy of the Lord. I could go on and on. I love to talk about Jesus. And honestly, that's hard for me to believe. It's so much easier for me to believe that there is a creator than that we came from nothing. But that's a debate for another day. But yeah, I just had to get on here, and I wonder if that's going to be a plot line. I would love if that was something like an arc in this, like a story arc or a storyline or a plot line in this story. I doubt it, because it's a modern, and they don't like... That's one thing I've really enjoyed about reading classics, is the outlook of God in them. And, you know, that they weren't preaching anything in their books, but it was giving you a, it posed a Christian question, and was kind of like exploring Christian concepts, I guess is the right thing to say. But I highly doubt this book's going to do that. I so hope it does. And if it does, I'll be ecstatic. And that will probably give it a better rating in my mind. Because I love when a book can tie in that sort of stuff. Like, even Tolkien, like I know he was a Christian, but his wasn't really like tied to Christian concepts. But you could see it. You could see the Christian undertone of the world building and, stuff like that. You could see it. Although it was a fantasy world, it wasn't our world. So it wasn't Jesus and it wasn't Yahweh, but you could see the inspiration or the reverence. You could see the reverence for Christianity. So that's part of why I love Lord of the Rings so much, because it can be a fantasy world, but also have Christian undertones. I just love it. My goal, I really want to read the Chronicles of Narnia with my kids, because I never read Chronicles of Narnia when I was a kid. And I know that C.S. Lewis was a Christian, And Chronicles of Narnia has a Christian undertone to it too. And so I'd love to read it with my kids. But I don't know what age you start reading Chronicles of Narnia with your kids. If you know, comment below. Let me know. Are my kids too young for it? Or are they getting to that age? I don't know. But yeah, I will let you guys know how that goes. Okay, so I literally just got in from recording that video for you guys, and I read the next section, and literally it says that line of thinking was very scary for him, and so that is why he escapes into the Oasis so much. And you know, as a fellow gamer and book reader, I use them as escapes as well. Sometimes when my mind gets just so full of, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, that's coming up in a couple days, that's coming up in a couple days, you know, next weekend is such and such, we gotta pay this bill, you know. When my mind is just running, it's nice to sit down and not think about that stuff for a little while. Be in a book that's in a different world. I think that's why I don't really care much for contemporary romances or like modern fiction. Like, just, I don't know. I think that anything that like mentions anything that I would see in my day-to-day, I'm like, nah. No, because it makes me think of real life, and I don't want that. I want to forget for just a little while. So yeah, I understand. Jesus is normally the first place I run to. He's normally the first one I go to if I'm feeling anxious or overwhelmed. He's the first one I run to. But books and video games are another way for me to unwind and escape for a little while and give my brain a little rest. She's literally sitting on my foot. Sasha. Yahi! You're sitting on my foot. But yeah, so they did kind of mention that. But one thing that I liked is that he said that the Oasis like gave him purpose. And you know, I feel like that's what all of us are really looking for. All this depression and anxiety and all the mental stuff that's going on, I think is partly spirits of depression, spirits of anxiety, spirits of whatever. Part of it, I think, is spirits. But another part of it is purpose. I feel like a lot of people do not have a purpose. They don't know their purpose. They don't live their life purposefully. You know what I mean? And I feel like that causes that feeling when you feel like you need to do something, but you don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. But I feel like that is a big problem with America. Is that we are, especially with the invention of social media, we are alone, at our homes, alone, doom scrolling, instead of being out and helping in our society, serving others. I think we've lost that. And I think more people would actually be happy if they served more. A great movie that I just saw recently, which I didn't know was going to be as good as it was This Christmas with Amelia Clark and what's his name? Is it Henry? The guy from Crazy Rich Asians. It's got the two of them in it, and it was a great movie. And that was a part of it, was purpose and serving others, and it was beautiful. I didn't know that was a part of that movie, and once I found it out, it made me love that movie so much more. So if you haven't seen This Christmas, especially this Christmas coming up, definitely check it out, because it was a really good movie. It was a really cute movie.
Hey guys, so I'm like 6 chapters into Ready Player One, and I'm really enjoying it, but I am also a gamer, so I kind of like know a lot of these. It's front loading a lot of exposition. And I guess it has to, because it has to put us in this world. And it's kind of hard to do that with this setting because so much has changed, and it's all about video games. And so if you're going to have people who don't play video games, you've got to like define all this stuff, and you've got to show how all this stuff rules the world now, and you know how it got to be this way. And so I get it, but it is a lot. It is a lot of front loading of exposition. I'm still waiting for, you know, the plot to actually start. But it's an interesting premise that the world is all stuck in a simulation, you know. It's interesting. And it's not so heavy-handed that a layman couldn't read it. You know what I mean? Like somebody who doesn't play video games could read this because he's defining everything and he's telling you, you know, why this is important or why you need to know this, you know. So overall, I'm liking it, but I'm ready for the plot to start. I'm ready for something to start happening because so far we've just seen that he doesn't have a very good home life, and he goes to school in the Oasis. And so we got to go to school with him and see how that all works and stuff. And I really like that because they're in a simulation already. Like the teachers, he said that the teachers are all really good and seem to really enjoy their jobs because, like he said in his history class, they went and visited the tomb of King Tut, like as they're like excavating it. Sasha says hi. Sorry. Hi, pretty girl. What are you doing? But they got to go, and I guess because there's footage of it, they got to go and like be in the excavation, if that makes sense. They went to the Louvre for his art class, and because they're in a simulation, they can actually go to the places that they're learning about and actually witness firsthand. Sasha! It makes the kids act better because it's a lot more engaging because they're actually there and they're actually witnessing what they're talking about and stuff like that. So that's really cool. And it's really cool to compare that to the actual experience of COVID when everybody went online because that was not good. Not fun. I was teaching during COVID, and that was, it was terrible. I think now I've got all the exposition that I need. Hopefully we start getting into the story. So I'm excited to actually get into the story.
Hey guys. So yesterday was my 32nd birthday on November 11th, and my grandma got me a interesting present for my birthday, so I will show you guys right now. Her name is Tessarion. If you get that reference, let me know. I'm gonna call her Tess for short. So yeah, here's Tess. She's 10 weeks old, and she was hand raised, so I'm just trying to build up a little relationship with her, sit beside her, be chill, be cool. Yeah, she's beautiful. Isn't she beautiful? Hi, Tess. Hi, beautiful. Hi, pretty girl. Ta-da. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, sitting down here beside her, trying to make a bond. Make the bond! You know, trying to win her trust a little bit. I am about 100 pages into Ready Player One, and I'm absolutely loving this book. It's really fun. So I don't know if I explained all of it in a video. I don't think I did, but basically there was this guy named James Halliday, and he was like a video game developer, and him and his best friend started this company called Gregarious Games. He made the games, and his buddy, who was also, you know, like a geeky, nerdy dude, he was the one who like sold it, produced it, and sold it. And they grew the business, and then they invented the this game system called the Oasis. And the Oasis is like a utopia. And, you know, you can find just about anything in the Oasis. And I think I did talk about like the schools. Like they said that the school system in the Oasis was better than like IRL, like in real life public school. And you know, people are going to school in the Oasis, people are going to work in the Oasis, people are doing all kinds of different stuff in the Oasis, and they're basically living their whole lives in the Oasis, and the real world is what they do in their free time. You know what I mean? In this Oasis, the James Halliday, the inventor, he hid an Easter egg. And when he died, he didn't have any heirs. So whoever finds the egg inherits all of his estate, all of his stocks, everything that was his. And in order to find the egg, you've got to find 3 keys and 3 gates. So you've got to basically solve like 6 puzzles to find the Easter egg. Maybe 7. You know, there's probably a 7th one to actually find the egg itself. When he died, he sent out an invitation to everyone, which is basically the entire world, to try to find this Easter egg. And in 5 years since he died, no one has even found the first key. And so our main character, Wade Watts, his avatar is named Parzival, which is one of the Arthurian knights who found the Holy Grail, I think is what they said. But he's the first one to find the copper key, so he thinks. And so he gets there, and it is modeled after the Dungeons and Dragons, or a part of Dungeons and Dragons. And at the end of this dungeon or whatever is a lich. I said lich, but it could be leech. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's a leech.
Lich.
He is like an undead wizard type thing. And so, you know, in Dungeons and Dragons, you've got to fight him. Well, in the Oasis, you have to play the old arcade game Joust. You have to beat him at Joust. And so Parzival does. And as he's leaving, another avatar shows up. And it just so happens to be Artemis, who is like a Gunter blogger. And she's like a famous, like every Gunter knows who Artemis is. And she is someone who he has had a cyber crush on for a long time. And so when she walks in, he's like, oh, it's Artemis. Oh my goodness. She walks in, she's like, hey, you figured it out too? Or he beat you too? And, you know, she's talking to him. She thinks he lost. And it turns out that she has been going there for 5 weeks. She was actually the first one who figured out where the copper key was. But she hasn't been able to beat the master in Joust. And so she's sitting there, and their little interaction is so stinking cute. Like, it was so cute. I loved it so much. I'm like, ooh, I'll give you all the sweet little, ooh, it's so cute. Then she figures out, she pulls up the scoreboard in her avatar form or whatever, and she sees that his name is at the top of the scoreboard because he was the first one to find the copper key, to get the copper key. You know, she's so mad because she's been going there for 5 weeks trying to beat him and hasn't been able to. Once everything resets, she's walking up to go and face the master, and he kind of says, hey, try this. And it, you know, helps her to beat him. And so he gets out and he goes to the gate. The gate sounds like one of the coolest games that I could think of. You're in one of your favorite movies, and you are the main character, and you're having to do all the lines and all the motions, and you get extra points for doing the motions and doing the intonations and stuff like that. Like, that's so cool to me. I would do that in a heartbeat. And I would get perfect on a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies that I love and know every word to and know every intonation, every facial expression, every, body movement. That would be a really cool game. And in it, it says that the Gregarious Games, they took that idea and patented it and put like every movie and book into it and stuff. And it's so cool. It sounds so cool. I would 100% get that game for sure. So yeah, he's the first one to find the copper key and unlock the copper gate, and beat the copper gate. And so now he moves on to the jade key. And so he's got 110,000 points. And then when he checks the scoreboard again, he sees that she beat the master. So she's got 9,000 points. And so because she was second, she got 1,000 less points. So it's not like everybody gets 10,000 points. I guess it depends on how soon you figured it out. And then, the next morning he sees that she's got 109. So she beat the gate too. And in doing that, they both boosted their popularity, but they also put a giant target on their backs. This is so much fun. I can't wait to see the rest of the keys and the rest of the gates. Halliday's best friend that was in the business with him, he is still alive. And they got an interview with him, and can I just say, he's based. But yeah, so I'm loving this story. For the time being, this might be one, or at the moment, I feel like this might be one that I actually need to buy, because I did get this from the library, but I'm liking it so much that I feel like I might want to buy it for myself, which I did with Dracula. Here's my copy of Dracula. I loved it so much from the library that I had to have it. So I bought it. It's up on my shelf, and it'll probably be every year a Halloween read. But yeah, so I'm loving this one a whole lot. I don't know if it's because I play video games too, and I like puzzles and stuff like that. Like I love this kind of stuff and nerdy stuff. I'm the nerdy cowgirl. I love nerdy stuff. So, I don't know, but I do. I love it. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. See how it ends. I think I'm gonna love it, because it just feels like that kind of story. But yeah.
Wade was born this year, August 12th, 2024. You ready?
Ready? Happy
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Merritt. Happy birthday to you. All of them, woo! Hey guys, so I am about halfway through Ready Player One. And I think it's really interesting a part of the argument that it's trying to make. It says that, the Oasis was a utopia, and so people started living there and started neglecting the real world. And and that's how everything went to shit, is because people stopped living their real lives. You know what I mean? And I find that really interesting, and it provides a good question. If we are eternally online, are we living our real lives? Are we giving the real world enough attention in order for it to be healthy? I think it said that like the governments went to shit, and like I just now got to the part where he I don't know if I talked about this, but after he cleared the gate, the Sixers, who are the IOI Gunters, the IOI hired Gunters, they call them Sixers because all of their employee numbers start with 6. It's another corporation that is trying to buy out the Oasis and buy out the GSS, the Gregarious Systems. And they're trying to buy him out, but his will is so solid that they have to play the game just like everybody else in order to take over. And so what they do is they hire people, and when they hire people, they put them on a contract that says if they get the egg, they don't get the egg. The egg and all responsibility and all ownership and all everything goes to IOI. So they've got thousands of people working for them, and they can like cheat the system. If they got to the joust, if I was a Sixer and I wasn't good at joust, I could let another Sixer play my avatar in joust. Does that make sense? Like, they can take over each other's avatars. And then they also have dozens of Halliday scholars that can feed them information and stuff. Like, the Sixers aren't having to make any findings on their own. They're not having to really use their wits and use their skills, which is cheating. But the Sixers, when he beat the first gate, they started emailing him and with a job offer. And so he was like, I'll go see what they've got to offer. What's the worst they can do? So he goes, and that's when they show him everything. They show him all of that cheating that they can do. And they offer him all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no. And they were like, we know where you are. And then they showed him a video feed of his aunt's trailer in the stacks. And they're like, we've got it strapped with a bomb. And if you don't comply, we'll blow it up. We'll blow you up. And, you know, of course he's thinking, if I do comply, you'll blow me up. You'll take me out of the race. You know, that's your whole thing. You don't want me in the race. And if I'm dead, I can't get the next key. And I can't go to the next thing. So you're going to kill me anyway. Or they're bluffing. And so he calls their bluff. He gets back to the hideout and he's like, oh, okay, everything's good. And then a little bit later, boom. And then after that, he was like, you know, I'm sure that there are other people who have scored, have gotten emails too. I've got to warn them. And so he calls and gets them to come to the basement, which is H's chat room that they have, which it looks like a basement, and it's like a hangout place that their avatars can be. And it turns out they're all being called the High Five, which I think is hilarious because there's 5 of them and they're the highest on there, and it's just, I think it's cute, the High Five. But yeah, so they call all of them there, and they all like exchange pleasantries and stuff, and he tells them what happened with IOI. But yeah, and so after that, he leaves. He leaves Oklahoma City and he goes to Columbus. And, you know, it talks about how the roads are so bad because everybody's too busy in the oasis, that they're not taking care of the real world. And I think that just has such a deeper meaning for like this day and age. Like, I feel like there's so many people who are eternally online that they're not taking care of their real life. Like, I know I say that as a wannabe YouTuber, that I'm like putting stuff online, and the argument could be made, but I limit myself, you know. It doesn't take me but 10 minutes to record these videos, these little snippets. The hardest part is the editing, like putting it all together, and you know, that takes time. But I think limiting it to 1 video a week isn't so bad because I'm not ignoring the real world. Like, I'm still present, you know. I do record some things, but for the most part, y'all don't see what all goes on in my life. Y'all don't know what all I'm doing. I think there's a difference between that. You know what I mean? Like I see some people and they put literally everything online. Everything. And if I ever start neglecting my real world life, I will take a break from all of this. From YouTube, from Twitch, from all of it. I'll take a break. For the time being, I feel like it's not interfering with my real life. But I feel like there are some people who it is. And I can see how it's hypocritical for me to be sitting here and saying this stuff, or sitting here and being critical, I guess, of people like that. I can see how that could be hypocritical, but I'm not trying to be. I'm just saying it's an interesting premise, and it gives me something to think about. It gives me something to watch out for, and be self-aware about. I'm interested to see where it goes. Say again. Step up. Step up. Yes. Yes, good step up. Good girl. That was a good one. I know I dropped it, didn't I? Okay. And you step down. Good girl. Good girl. That was so good. Hey guys. So I'm still loving the story, but there's one part that I'm kind of struggling wrapping my head around, and it is, I just got to the part where they were invited to Ogden Morrow's birthday party, who was Halliday's business partner. They were invited to his birthday party, and while they're there, you know, they're dancing, having a good time, and for a long time they have been kind of seeing each other, and while they're there, like, she like comes to her senses and is like, you know, you don't even know me. You know, he tells her he loves her, and she's like, you don't even know me. Why, like, you shouldn't be saying this stuff. You don't know who I am. And I mean, she's admitted that she's a 19-year-old girl, but that she says she doesn't look anything like her avatar and blah, 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 blah. But I remember in the movie, I'm pretty sure she's played by Olivia Cook, but I think it was Olivia Cook, if I'm remembering correctly. But she's beautiful. And so when she's like, I'm not pretty, you know, I don't look anything like this. I'm not beautiful, blah, blah. I'm like picturing Olivia Cook. So maybe this is one time where it's not so good to have seen the movie before reading the book. So that's like something that I'm struggling with. Like, it's not like make or break, but it is just kind of like, yeah, you are.
Is this a YouTube video?
It's just a video.
Hi.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Test him. Test him. Yes, good girl. Over here. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Come on. Oh, she got it. Good girl. She was throwing it off the edge. Here she goes. You gonna do it? You gonna throw it? You gonna throw it? Oh, she did it. Good girl. Go get it. Go get it. Not that ball. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. Hey guys. So last night I finished Ready Player One, and I loved it. It was so much fun. Yeah, I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Okay, so in the end, it just got so action packed. We get this huge battle. It was really good. It was a really good battle.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
All right, bud.
Hi.
All right. But yeah, Sparksville wins it all. And then after that, he finally gets to go out and meet Artemis in person. He found out that she just has a big birthmark on her cheek, and that's why she feels so self-conscious and was like so like no about meeting in person, and you know, tells her he loves her again, and she's like, really? And then they kiss, and he realizes just at the very end how much, you know, reality and the real world, that he says for the first time he wants to stay in the real world. And that's cool. But I liked how they kind of reverted it back to the beginning. Like, they didn't talk about God But Halliday talks about like how he made the same observation as Wade did in the beginning about like how bad the world is and stuff. And so that's why he made the Oasis, because you could counteract that in the Oasis. But yeah, I loved it. It was so much fun. It was just so cool to see like little nuggets that were placed throughout the story. As a gamer, I don't know that it was more fun, but I think that added to the fun too, because I know what it's like to be obsessed with a game and obsessed with winning it and beating it. And, you know, I know the feeling of almost got it, you know, just a little bit more, you know, I understand the gaming side of it. But I will say, I don't think you have to be a gamer to enjoy it, because I think it does a good job of like explaining it in layman's terms and like explaining it where people who don't play games could understand it. Ma'am. So I think it would be, I think a non-gamer could play it or could read it just fine and love it just fine too. I will say that once you get past the beginning, that's when it starts to get good. So the beginning front loads a lot of exposition and world building. A lot of it. But in this type of book, you kind of have to. There's no way that all the information that it tells you in the beginning can just come up in conversation throughout the book. And you kind of need to know all of that beforehand, because everybody else knows that beforehand. You know what I mean? Like everybody in the world, everybody in that world already knows all of this stuff. So there'd be no reason to like be like, did you know blah, 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 like later in the book. There'd be no reason, because everybody knows how the Oasis was started, you know, why it was started, you know, what all the names are and abbreviations and stuff like that. Like everybody already knows that stuff, but we don't. So we need to be front loaded that information so that we can be caught up to speed. Does that make sense? Although it was a lot, if you stick to it and get through the exposition and you'll get to the good stuff, and stuff will actually start happening and stuff. And it was fun. And I think today we are gonna watch the movie. Highly recommend it. I loved it. It does make me want to buy it, because I think this book would get better on like the second or third read, because you know what's gonna happen. You know how it goes. So now I can go through and pay attention to Easter eggs that are scattered throughout it, because I know there's some, and you know I can remember some of them because I was like, this is going to come back later. But I bet if I go back and read it again, I'll notice more Easter eggs and stuff like that. So I think that would be fun to do. So it does make me want to buy it. I need to let these horses out. I will see you guys again in a second. Bye, Hope.
Let the hunt for Halliday's Easter egg begin.
Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed my reading vlog of Ready Player One. It was one of my favorites out of all these Uncomfy reads. Once I finished the book, I did go and watch the movie and was shocked by just how much they changed in the movie. I mean, they changed every key, every gate. Like they didn't even unlock the gates. They changed a lot. They changed a lot from the book, but and I just didn't think it was as good as the book. I felt like I knew Wade better, and like I was more attached to Wade in the book. In the movie, it felt like it was more focused on Artemis, in my opinion. It was kind of strange. But yeah, so I definitely recommend the book to everyone. I don't think you have to be a gamer to enjoy this book. I think the author did a good job of using the like gaming jargon, but also like defining it in a way that non-gamers will understand and will appreciate at the same time, and not feel lost or whatever. I didn't really care for him front-loading all the exposition, but I felt like with this story he kind of had to. He had to get everybody on the same page. So in order to do that, he had to take a few pages in the beginning, which I understand. I get it. I don't think you have to be a gamer to read this book or to enjoy it, but as a gamer, I really did. I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little mini series on my channel. If you've followed along and seen my other videos, I thank you and I appreciate you for being here. And if you haven't, be sure to check those out. I did put those in the cards at the beginning of the video, but I also have them down in the description below. So feel free to check those out. Come back and watch this one, or feel free to check those out. That is all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week or rest of your month. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys in the next video. God bless you. Happy trails. Bye.